It's finally here, Super Bowl 57. Everything you need to know. Will the Chiefs pull it off? That's what it comes down to. I think you know the answer. Welcome to Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
If you don't know the answer, you must be an Eagles fan or a fan of some other team, because we're going to set you straight today with everything you need to know, injury-wise, scheme-wise, matchups, and our predictions. Everything in one place. Thanks for being here with us. We're brought to you today by our newest sponsor, FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of the NFL. Make every moment more. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started today. We're going to hit all the big news and how this ultimate matchup comes together for the Kansas City Chiefs against the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kelce Bowl, whatever you want to call it. I'm Ryan Tracy from Locked On NFL, NFL Draft, Chiefs, NFL33.com, where you can find all my draft work, RGR football. We can find all kinds of video content over there on YouTube, and Rogue Analytics, the home of the athletic matrix for all your draft needs. It all culminates in this game. This is what it comes down to.
And I cannot wait. I am so stoked for Sunday. I just cannot wait for this game to start. I'm Chris Clark. Thank you all for listening. If you have not already, please hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell on YouTube. We also do appreciate reviews on iTunes and on Spotify. So much to talk about in this game and in the preview for this game. The line is 1.5. The Eagles are favored just slightly. Going to be interesting in that regard. We have a lot to talk about when we start breaking this game down.
Yeah, I love that line, actually. I think that's a wee bit of motivation. I think it's a wee bit of recognition.
Just a wee bit?
Yeah, well,
I think it's
I don't know.
Patrick's petty.
True. And I think that's a great quality in this particular situation. I don't know about the betting lines, if that's exactly it. I think the wavering based on his ankle is probably something that Patrick Mahomes is watching. We're watching his ankle. We're watching everybody here in terms of who's going to be available for this ball game. It comes down to, at this point in the season, every team has attrition. You've lost some guys to IR. McCole Hardman's not going to play in this ball game. There's a lot that goes into it, but there's a few that really stand up tall. And from my estimation and everything that we've seen so far, Patrick Mahomes is A-okay. Is he 100%? No, nobody really is at this point in the season. But I put him at about 90, and it seems like they're being pretty coy. I'm not seeing any substantive answers on anything in terms of any inquiries into Patrick's health any longer.
Yeah, and I do think that he is probably about 90%, and that's probably about as close as you're going to get him with that ankle. So we'll see how it turns out. Everybody else seems to be pretty healthy. Kadarius Toney was the only guy that was limited in practice on Wednesday. That's something to watch. But Andy Reid talked about it after on Thursday. James Palmer has done a great job giving insight to the Chiefs this week. If you don't follow him on Twitter, you got to go listen to some of the stuff he's talked about. But he says that Toney is such a big key for this Chiefs team, and I do think that he is going to play a very big role, because he has started to get to a point where he already has the chemistry of Patrick, kind of like Travis Kelce does. Obviously not to that extent, but getting closer to that extent. If that is the case, regardless of how it plays out in the Super Bowl, that is fantastic news for 2023.
Yeah, you got to have it all the way around. For him to get acquired this season and be in that position, something that, quite frankly, has taken some of the other receivers longer to get that connection with Patrick in particular. Now, he's coming off of a couple injuries. He's got a hamstring. He's got an ankle. We haven't seen him lately. So he can be somebody that separates himself in this ballgame. For me, it's a question of the quality of the reps. I don't need him to play 60 snaps of offense. And I do expect the Chiefs are going to get a pretty decent number of snaps on the offensive side of the ball. But I don't need him to be out there for all of them. What I need is for him to produce on those that he is out there for, and hopefully not take unnecessary hits, to tell you the truth, because I am concerned about collisions, stressing out, especially the hamstring. You get caught in a weird position. You end up pulling something when you're not even really using it to make yardage.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for Toney. He is definitely a jitterbug when it comes to getting around the field and what he can do and the way he cuts. That is going to pull a lot of string on the hamstring. So that's a lot of strain on the hamstring, sorry. So that's definitely something to watch. You know, you look at the rest of this team, Jerick McKinnon is full practice, Trey Smith is full practice, everybody else was at full practice. Everybody else should be good to go. Your boy Snead's not even on the practice report, so he's fully cleared from concussion, doesn't have any other injuries that they're really worried about in this game. So it's like Kansas City is going to go into this game very healthy. And I will say, I'm very curious because we will find out. We won't find out until Saturday, but they're going to activate 2 guys from the practice squad for this game. That's what they do it every single week. I'm curious who they activate because this is a week where do you activate a guy like Shelton? You know you're going to go up against a heavy run team. Do you activate a guy like Shelton, bring him up for the game? It's going to be fascinating to see what Kansas City does and who they bring up for this game.
I have to agree with you. And again, folks, thanks for making us your first listen. This is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We're your team every day on every platform for free. We appreciate you taking the time. We know it's Super Bowl week, so obviously you want to listen to these 2 shows. Thanks you to putting us loftily into the iTunes charts. We very much appreciate that. But check out another Locked On show for your next one, whether it's the draft, whether it's the Eagles, whether you're trying to rebuild your roster. We do appreciate it. And Shelton is the big question because he's played for other teams. And when he came into camp, I think we got a little excited. Might have had a big stone in the middle of the defense that they could work through. Hasn't played a lot. So it would be very fitting to carry him this whole season and activate him just for this game. I do think that the A-gaps are going to be critical in this ball game. I do hope that we see some bear front, some modified bear front with a D tackle and 4 ends out there. I'd love to see that. And if Danny happens to be that tackle, I like the concept. I think Brandon Williams can do a heck of a job as well. I think he's coming to play some valuable snaps on that D-line as well. Colin Saunders is ripe for the taking right now. I think he's in position to really make an impact on this game, not only for himself, a contract year, the whole 9 yards, but they have to have supplemental pass rush from that position. And I think he's a guy that's just made for this kind of situation. Don't know if we'll see him on offense, but I'm looking forward to it.
Actually, I wouldn't put that out of the question. The thing that I think, the reason I look at Shelton is because they're going to be running again. They're going to be going against a team that likes to run the ball a lot. And the one thing you want to make sure that you can try to be is fresh inside so you can help stop the run. You can keep you can keep Jason Kelce from getting to the second level. So that is going to be huge for this game. We'll see whether or not they actually bring him up. I'm not sure if they will, but I'm going to be fascinated to see who they do bring up. I expect Marcus Kemp is going to be one of them for special teams, but we'll see who they take otherwise. And I have a matchup that I want to talk about as soon as we get back from our break, because I think that this is going to be one of the key matchups in the game, but it's going to be a little bit different than what you normally think when you hear it. But I do want to tell you about our friends over at Blue Nile. Valentine's Day is coming up, which means romance is in the air more than usual. I don't need to tell all you lovebirds that you probably had your date night already planned out for a couple of weeks, unless you're Patrick Mahomes, who doesn't even realize when Valentine's Day is, which, hey, he's kind of busy right now. Whether you're celebrating this day of romance or you're ready to pop the question, you can find jewelry as unique as she is with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. At BlueNile.com, you can find the perfect piece of jewelry for life's special moments or even create the custom engagement ring of her dreams. Their simple online tools let you choose the diamond shape, size, and clarity, as well as the setting style. Blue Nile's bench jewelers will then handcuff that perfect piece to your specifications. Blue Nile's diamond price guarantee allows you to compare a competitor's diamond against one of their others. Blue Nile can even meet or beat their price. Every order is insured and arrives quickly in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shipping is free, and so are returns. Right now, you can save up to 50% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com for up to 50% off at BlueNile.com.
And this year, the only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. We're really excited about our brand new partner here at Locked On because they're the #1 sportsbook in America. It is FanDuel. And now that whether you're new, it's even better because that does help out. They have so many great features to make sports betting fun and easy. And right now, download that app, FanDuel, and you can get you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. That is a unique deal that you need to take advantage of. It lets you bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to who will score the touchdowns. And yes, there will be touchdowns. I think that the total number of points is one of my favorite bets here because it's going to ride on a rail's edge about some of the matchups we're going to talk about in a bit. And best of all, you get paid your winnings instantly. It's safe, it's secure, it's effective, and it's easy to use. So check that out. Go join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim your no-sweat first bet for Super Bowl 57, Chiefs versus Eagles. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Now, officially, whether I'm betting it or not, one thing that it comes down to me is the linebacker level. We're going to talk some matchups here that I think are key, and it is the combination of Willie Gay and Nick Bolton against that front. Who can erase? And it's funny. I said this yesterday. If you guys didn't see the crossover show, make sure you go check that out with Louis Gene. You want to get that because the perspectives are good. But for me, Chiefs defense, it's about erasing a Kelce as well, as much as it is for the Eagles. Which linebacker can clean up the run the most? So one of the lines that I'm interested in is total linebacker tackles. I'm going to take 17 plus in that category between Willie Gay and Nick Bolton. What do you think?
Man, that's a lot of tackles, and I think that they could do it. I think that they're going to be pivotal in this game, and I see you wanted to jump the gun and go ahead and take the linebacker level. Really, to me, looking at this game, I am going to go defense with my first matchup that I'm going to be fascinated by, and it's corners. And it's not for the reason you would think. It's not to protect the pass. That's going to be important. That's going to be hard for them to do against A.J. Brown. I think they're going to double him a lot of the game. Devontae Smith, they got to worry about as well. You're going to have to try to figure out ways to take him out of the game. But for me, the big thing is, can the corners help in the running game? That's going to be what's so huge. When you start getting the corners at a level where they're basically on the line because they're up and doing press, that's going to help in the running game because these corners tackle very, very well. And that could play a huge part in how Kansas City plays in this game.
Yeah, take a snap, put it on the line because L'Jarius Sneed is elite in run support from the DB level. And honestly, I think Trent McDuffie is a guy that's right behind him. We've seen both Josh Williams and Jalen Watson make plays as well. And you guys know how I feel about Brian Cook. If you are new to this show, it is a Brian Cook appreciation show half the time. So you expect him to come downhill. It's going to be key because I do feel like if you can take away the run and at least manage the Hurts aspect of the run, you can force them into throwing, which I think favors the Kansas City Chiefs right now. If you can pin back your ears with Frank, Chris, George, Mike, et cetera, maybe throw a little gay delay blitz in there. I'm just saying, Green Dog be nice. You're going to get this done. So I think taking away the run is paramount. I sound like Gunther Cunningham from 1994, but that's the way that it is.
Well, and it's because of how this Philly offense operates. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be a great quarterback, but this offense is made for him to succeed. It is tailored for him to succeed. He is a very good quarterback, but he hasn't been asked to do the things and elevate the players around him like Mahomes has this year. He's got two studs on the outside, and he's got a slew of running backs and a fantastic offensive line that have really elevated what that offense can do. I'm not saying they're not good. They are. But if Kansas City can slow down the run, which is what I expect them to be trying to take out and force Hurts to try to beat him with his arm, Spags is going to throw blitzes at him that Hurts hasn't seen. That's the reality of it. And one of the articles, I was reading a bunch of stuff today about the Chiefs, and one of the things that they talked about, and I hadn't really ever thought of it from this perspective, but if you look back at how Kansas City's defense played early in the season, and this has been the case every time for a Spagnuolo-based defense, they struggle at the beginning of the season. They start getting better in the middle, and then by the end of the season, I'm not going to say they're great, but they're a lot better than they were when it started. And it's because he's using the entire season in figuring out what these players can and cannot do, and then he is starting to put them in the best position for them to be successful at the end of the year. That is what makes a great coach. That is exactly what Andy Reid does with his players on offense. And it's funny how these two play on each other.
Yeah, and they have to play on each other. I gotta flip it though, because I think as much as I think all those factors play in to how the game has to go on one side of the ball, when you take a look at what the Chiefs can do that can be a little bit different, I think one matchup that comes down to me, and it'll be funny because again, for both these teams, both these defenses, it's about taking away the other Kelce. if teams try to concentrate on Kelce, we've seen a number of players step up in their wake to take that on. I think the best matchup in that scenario might be going to the 13 personnel, because I think Jody Fortson and Noah Gray are in position to take advantage of Kaiser White, of Edwards. If they drop down the nickels, I feel very comfortable with Jody against Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, against Avonte Maddox. If you're going to give me a nickel or an undersized quick linebacker, I will take Jody Fortson over the top of him all day long and twice on this Sunday. I think that could be a key as well.
Could be huge. And quite frankly, I look at this game and I see, you saw MVS step up in the AFC Championship game like he hasn't all season. And it was fantastic. Great to see it. I think this is a game made for Juju. And I say that because you sit there and you look at what Travis Kelce is going to do on the field. They're going to double Kelce. They're going to do a lot of things to try to take him away and try to make it to where they can't be successful with him. But one of the things Philly does is going to make it very hard for them to take Kelce away is they play a lot of zone. If they're playing zone against Kansas City, Kelce is going to find a place to get open and get his. But Juju is, I'm not saying he's Travis Kelce. I'm not saying he's right behind him. But Juju has started to figure it out as the year has gone on, what Mahomes is looking for and how to find those zones. He's paid attention to what Kelce's done, and he can do a lot of the same things that Kelce does. That is going to be something that could really be a big matchup in this game.
And I think the last one that stands out to me on offense is the fact that everybody's focused on one ankle of one Patrick Mahomes. Maybe there's going to be a tension on the left knee of Juju Smith-Schuster. Maybe there's going to be a little tension on the right hamstring for Kadarius Toney. But the guy that I don't think anybody's looking at is Isaiah Pacheco. I think he's still a surprise to most teams. I think they understand that he doesn't quite have the vision to really exploit everything that's there, but he's going to get his chances, and they're going to use the run effectively. It doesn't have to be a high volume, but it has to be effective. And I do think that that's going to come. Is he an X factor? That's going to be the question. And we're going to give you guys something special here. This is Locked On Chiefs, your team every day, but also something where we tell you the truth, good, bad, or indifferent about this team. We're going to do that on the backside of a message from our friends at TurboTax that are in a position to help you. So go to TurboTax and don't do your taxes. It's that simple. Meet with an expert that'll do them for you. That's the big plus. Their experts can help you relieve you from the stress and the taxes and do everything that you need to do for you, not the taxes. With TurboTax, an expert will do your taxes from start to finish, ensuring that your taxes are done right. It is guaranteed so that you can relax. Feels good to be done with your taxes, doesn't it? Come to TurboTax.com and don't do your taxes. Visit TurboTax.com and learn more. Intuit TurboTax, full service products only. A video meeting while the expert does your taxes is required. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guaranteed. Okay, so normally we go right into predictions, but we're going to throw you guys a bone here. What do you got?
Really quick before I get to that, because I do want to talk about my X Factor. I just want to say I love what you said about Pacheco, but I want to add a part B to that. I really do think McKinnon, and I think CEH plays. I don't think that they would have had him practicing if they weren't going to have him activated for this game. I think CEH plays. And both of those guys can have a very big impact on this game if they just do the small things, which is get out in the flats, get open in the flats, get Patrick quick passes that he can take. Even if you're only getting 4 or 5 yards, it doesn't matter because the Eagles defense is going to try to get after the passer, and they are fantastic if they can make the quarterback hold the ball more than 2.6 seconds. Under that, they're not. This is how you attack this team. It doesn't matter. You don't need big chunks. You just need to be able to move the ball.
I love big chunks, though. Oh, wait.
I do too. I love big chunks on offense, and I think that Kansas City can do it. I'm just saying you need to be able to slow down the pass rush a little bit. Give your tackles some help. Get it to where they're having to think about, okay, well, what about the screen game too? All of it is going to play into this.
Well, it's a full, well-rounded offense. There's no holding plays back for next year. Andy's got this bag, and it's like Santa Claus. He might be halfway down to it, and he's got plenty left in reserve. So do we see Ring Around the Rosies, the snow globe play? I don't know. Do we see something off of it? More than likely to me, but that's just me. So it comes down to what sets them apart, what takes the game, and that's the X factors.
Yeah, and real quick, before I get to my X factor, what's your over-under on how many trick plays we see from Andy, if we're going to say 1.5 is the line, are you going over or under?
I take the over on that.
Yeah. I'd say we could see up to 3. And if that's if you're counting like a snow globe type play.
Right.
Okay. X factor from my perspective, when I'm looking at this game, I think the corners are going to play a huge key in this game. Just based on run defense and pass defense, that's going to be huge on Kansas City side. But my X factor is going to be Juju. And it's because of what he's able to do in the middle of the field that he can do so well. I kind of talked about this in the matchup segment, but I think he is going to be my X factor for this game. If he gets going in the middle of the field because they're doubling Kelce, it's going to open up everything else. And that is going to be something that Kansas City could take advantage of. Yes, they have a fantastic secondary, but Juju is 8 at different times this season in the middle of the field, and I think that they can use that on Sunday.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think there's a way that he can be very, very key to being able to run the offense at tempo. And I think tempo is going to be critical in this ball game. Outside of the first 15, we know how quickly they run the first 15. But when they got to go back to it, I think it's going to be about Kelce and Juju to get that tempo back up. And I do think this defense is going to give them enough trouble that they are going to have to make a surge. They're going to have a second attempt. How do they stay in this ball game is my X factor. And I'm glad you brought up the corners, because when you start 4 or 5 rookies every single game, somebody's got to stand out. And as well as the corners have played, takeaways haven't necessarily been there. I think that changes. I thought you saw that tip with Cook to Josh. I thought that was great. The one guy that I think you can rely to make a play, and I think in this Super Bowl takes the ball away, is L'Jarius Sneed. He is my X factor. He gets a pick, they win this ball game. It's that simple to me. One possession turnover by the defensive backfield, and I think it's a win. If they can do that, my bet is that it's L'Jarius Sneed.
And I also would bet that you're not going to see 2 picks from Mahomes in this game. He's had 2 picks in his last 2 Super Bowls. I don't think you see that this game.
Yeah, control. I do think that that's improved, and I think that's another underrated aspect of what he is this year. So,
well, to be fair, when he played Tampa Bay, he was running for his life, just trying to be. I mean, they were down the entire game. He had no chance in that game because of so many drop passes. But that's neither here nor there. I just don't think he throws 2 picks in this game. I think he has learned his lessons, and I think that he is going to. I don't know if he's going to pick apart the Eagles secondary, but I think he's going to be successful on Sunday. So here we are. Time for predictions. I'll let you go first.
It's been a long road. We do this every week, and there's been a lot of them. So I will put it this way. There is no reason to disrespect the Eagles team and what they've done. I expect this to be a dogfight. I talked about that yesterday. It's going to be punch for punch, back and forth until somebody finds the right crease to really open it up. I'm betting that that's Andy Reid in the offense first. Could be the defense. I don't know. But it's going to come, I think, in a subtle detail that can be exploited. And that is the way that I expect it to go. So I think it's probably tight in the first half. I think it takes a little bit of time, and then it starts to wear down, where the creativity and the adaptability of this offense in particular allows them to build a slight lead. Maybe it's 7 points, maybe it's 10 points in the third, and that unlocks Chris Jones, Frank Clark, George Karlaftis, and the attack. That's what it comes down to for me. So as they grind through, turnovers are going to be key. We talked about that. I think Snead pick comes probably late in the third quarter, and that sets up what I think is going to be the Chiefs taking a commanding lead. They probably have to hold the Eagles off, is my thought. And I know people are going to say NFC isn't what it's boiled down to be. They haven't beaten that many teams. I get that, but they're here. And they have a ring within their grasp as well. And I don't put anything past them, especially with a young, hungry group paired with, in a lot of parallels with the Chiefs, with some older vets, that this is their last big hurrah, in my opinion. So in the end, I think they slug it out back and forth, but it is the Chiefs with a victory in the second step in their dynasty ladder. I see it 30-27 Kansas City.
You know, you said so many good things there, but one thing that really sticks out to me, and this is something that we haven't really talked about on the show that much this week, but one thing that sticks out is that if you look at what Jalen Hurts has done this season, he has been playing from ahead like something crazy, like 90% of the time. If you go back to what he did last year plus this year, I think he's ranked 45th from quarterbacks when they're playing from behind. That's his EPA. Mm-hmm. His expected points per on average, and Patrick Mahomes is number one. Patrick Mahomes is number one pretty much at any point. But the point is, if you take away what the Eagles can do and you slow them down in the running game and you force Jalen Hurts to try to beat you, I feel great about Kansas City's chances in this game. But you have to take over the line of scrimmage. You have to be that team that is winning in the trenches. I think Kansas City can do that. The question is, can they do it for the entire game? Getting worn down in the third and fourth quarter is going to be tough, especially against this offensive line, who is fantastic in Philadelphia. So I do think that plays a part. For me, though, I look at this and I think Kansas City has the best quarterback in football. I think that actually, does more than people are giving it credit for. And I think he's closer to 100% than people are also guessing he is. I start looking at the rest of it. Travis Kelce has been fantastic this year. Patrick Mahomes has been fantastic this year. I think Kansas City wins. And it could be close. It could be. I don't think it's going to be out of hand. I don't think there's going to be a 2-score win. I think it's going to be a closer game, probably within 1 score. I'm going 35-28 Kansas City.
I like it. We would like to know what you all think. Leave your comments on the YouTube video and like and sub while you're there if you're seeing us over there for the first time. And again, thank you to Apple and all the success over there that you guys have brought us lately. Make sure you get subbed while you're over there because, yes, this is going to be an epic ball game. And then the league starts just a couple of days later to get ready for next season. So we have you year-round, 5 days a week, because that's what we do all the time. I'm really excited about it. My voice is starting to go hoarse from all the appearances we've been doing this week. So I know you feel the same, but it's been a great season, win, lose, or draw. We will be live with you after the ball game. So be back here on YouTube live. You'll hear it on the audio after the live is complete. But Chris, it's been another great season one way or the other. Thanks for doing this and being here for what, 6th season now we've done this?
6 seasons. Kansas City's been in the Super Bowl 3 of them.
Of us.
So, I can't argue with you right there. So, enjoy this, Kansas City. It's going to be a lot of fun. I still think, I'm with you, Ryan. I think Chiefs win, and I think it's going to be a fun game regardless. It's a Super Bowl. Your team's playing in the Super Bowl after not going for 50 years. They're now playing in their 3rd and 4. Enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great Super Bowl weekend. We'll be with you afterwards. Look for the live announcement both on Twitter, on both of our feeds, Chris Clark NFL, Ryan Tracy NFL, as well as Locked On Chiefs, the official Twitter account of this show. And we'll see you then. Have a good one, and good luck to your Kansas City Chiefs.